everyone, Flossy here again. I'm going to be looking at 3 more Eurovision songs. My favourite song is going to get 3 points. My least favourite one is going to get 1 point. This is my last review of sort of my initial impressions of each of the songs. I've only got these 3 left. So what I'll do is I'll go over all of these, and then at the end I'll say what I'm going to do for the next round, because a lot of the time with Eurovision, songs that are your initial favourites you don't like so much towards the end, and some songs grow on you. So I kind of want to see where my thoughts are later on. The first song I'm looking at today is Lithuania's song, and this is going to be the worst pronounced version of this name, I think, in the entirety of Eurovision this year. It's by Ieva Zasimaskait. That is definitely pronounced wrong. I am so sorry. But the song is called When We're Old, so at least I can say the title properly. For this, I watched the music video before I could only find a kind of low quality live performance from pre-Riga, but I later found a better live performance, which I'll talk about later, and this song is in English. I think it's a very simple song. I like the piano opening, and it has a sort of gradual addition of other instruments, I can't talk, which was very nice. It was quite a haunting song. Something about it sounds very familiar. It might be the melody. I think it's a relatable song. The drawbacks for me, like initially listening to it, are that it's fairly boring and forgettable. But I think this song is definitely a grower, because I heard it twice, and then I went, after I'd finally watched all the songs, I went and watched loads of clips from London Eurovision, and this was on there, and it grew on me so much from that one performance. So vocally, I think she's interesting. She has somewhat of a quirky vocal to her. Watching the live performance, her low notes sounded slightly awkward, but the vocals got better towards the end, and in London Eurovision it was just good throughout, I thought. Staging wise, I think this is a very easy song to stage. Pre-Riga, it didn't have the same impact as London Eurovision, I think. In Riga, it was, she just started sitting down halfway through the song and then got up again, and there were these visuals, and I didn't feel you didn't really get anything from it, and it didn't feel like, maybe it was that particular stage, it didn't feel like she had much presence. But watching it in London, it was a very intimate venue, and it fitted the song so well, and it sort of made the song come alive. So maybe they need to do something very intimate in actual Eurovision. Obviously it's going to be a massive stage, so they need to kind of work their way around that, because this song will shine through intimacy and this kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just very like a smaller, less grand stage. It needs very simple staging. Overall, I'm not particularly keen on it right now. I do think it's a boring song, but I think it's a massive improvement on last year. Last year's was just weird. And this one, I don't think it'll stand out as a qualifier. But like I said, watching the London performance, that made it improve for me. And I think this song, listening to it, I think it has the potential to be the biggest grower of Eurovision for me. Each time I've listened to it, I've liked it a little bit more. So by the time we actually get to Eurovision, I think I'm going to really like this song, because there's something, it is very haunting and simple, and that's the type of thing that grows on you. Well, at least for me. The second song I'm going to look at is Norway's song, and it's by the legend that is Alexander Rybak, and the song's called That's How You Write a Song. The song's in English. I watched the national final performance for this. I had already watched the Norwegian national final, and of course he's a previous winner of Eurovision. At the time he was a record-setting winner, and he's kind of known as one of the best winners, at least in recent years. In regards to the actual song, it's a very fun song, and it's a great song to get the crowd going. I don't think it's the strongest song of the competition, I'll be honest. But for me, this whole thing is about the whole package, and this song is kind of the ultimate example for that. Vocally, I think a lot of people know what his vocals are like if you watch Eurovision. He's a very strong vocalist, and in this performance, there's dancing going on. He's dancing and playing the guitar and playing the violin at the same time, and then singing, and so his vocals were very strong when you take all of that into account. For me, what makes this song shine is the staging and performance of it. In the start, it uses a lot of animations, which I really liked. And this is the only live performance I've seen where it feels like you're watching an actual rock star. You know, he's a Eurovision legend, and this performance, it was in Norway, you know, the country he's won for. So he's going to get a bigger reaction out of the crowd. But he has a charisma and a charm to him, which does bring that out of the crowd, and I think that will shine in Eurovision as well. I think the staging will be slightly different when he actually gets to Portugal, because obviously in this performance he's got too many people on stage. You're only allowed 6 people, so he's going to need to change it slightly. And watching it, there's the moment when he actually gets the violin out and starts playing it, and everyone went wild during that. It was incredible to watch, and you kind of like feel like you're going there like, wow, he's so brilliant. I don't think anyone in the competition has as much of charisma and performance ability as he has. There's something about him. He's like the definition of the X Factor, I think. There's something incredible about him. One of the only ones I can really compare him to is maybe Israel's. You know, she can get the crowd going, and she's got a somewhat similar, very like upbeat poppy song. So it's kind of like an interesting counterpart. They're different levels of charisma, but I think he has the edge with this. He engages with the crowd well, and he engages with the camera well. It's great to do both. And like I said, he's charming. To me, that's the best way to describe him. I was watching and going, oh my gosh, I'm getting a slight crush on him. And it was quite bizarre, because I've never particularly been impressed by him before. But then watching this, I was like, oh my gosh, he's so charming. Like I said, I will be honest, the song itself isn't the strongest. It's probably a mid-tier song in terms of Eurovision, but he is what makes it special to watch. You can't take your eyes off him. I am slightly convinced he's a vampire. I don't think he's aged since 2009, but when I was watching this to sort of make my notes for it, I had to go and watch it again because it was such a fun performance and it was so good, and it makes me smile, which for me is a very good part of Eurovision. The final song I'm going to be looking at is Russia's song. It's by Yulia Samoylova, and the song is called I Won't Break. This song is in English, and she's returning to Eurovision after the whole hullabaloo last year. In case you didn't know, Ukraine hosted last year. Russia released a music video set of her singing a song called Flame is Burning, and then it later turned out she had entered the Crimea, which, if you're a Russian person and enter there and don't declare it to Ukrainian authorities, I think, or use Ukrainian borders, because it's a war zone, you're not technically allowed to enter Ukraine for 2 years. So she wasn't able to enter the country. Russia refused the satellite link and eventually pulled out. I think, personally for me, I think they never intended to compete in Ukraine, and they just kind of went, okay, we'll try and get people to feel a bit sorry for us by using, a girl in a wheelchair, like saying, oh, you're not going to take it out on this poor girl, kind of a bit manipulative. I found the whole thing just had a bad taste last year, but I will say fair play, they stuck to their word and brought her back this year. For this, I watched the music video before watching a clip from the Moscow Eurovision party to make sure I had a high quality version and a live version at the same time. The song, like many others this year, has a slow opening. I do like the chorus, but it gets boring after a while. You know, there's only so many times you can hear her say, "I won't break." It just gets dull. Vocally, you can tell English isn't her first language. Her diction isn't particularly good, and that was just from the audio recording, you know, where you can touch up these things and you can make sure it's perfect. For the live performance, it was low quality, but she didn't sound in tune for a good portion of the song, and she did sound quite shaky towards the end. I know that she's actually responded, I think, to her performance not being that good, and said there was a lot going on and she hopes to be better for actual May. So I hope vocally she will be much better, but I don't have much hope for her diction, because she was like this last year as well, and there's been no improvement in that regards. This is the kind of song where I think you can have very simple staging, you know, just singers on stage, and that's what she had in Moscow. I think it's the type of song which will need visuals in the background. Hopefully there'll be another shot of her kind of merging with a mountain. That was very random. And the problem is it's kind of dull to watch if you watch the live performance. But that could be to do with the fact that in these sort of pre-Eurovision parties, you can't do some massive staging. So there's not much she could do about that. Hopefully it'll be better in actual Eurovision. Overall, like I said, it's an improvement on last year. Flame is Burning, in my opinion, was a terrible song. This one is an improvement, but it's still not a particularly memorable song. To me, the chorus is the type to get stuck in your head, so that's one good thing. Vocally, she's not perfect, and the diction issues are still there, so I'm not optimistic about it for the actual competition. So I've looked at all the Eurovision songs now, so I kind of have a hint as to what ones will be my favourites, what ones I probably won't like at all, and what will grow on me. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out after my initial impressions. I'm only going to give 1 point to Lithuania. At the moment, for me, the song is too dull, it's not memorable enough, and I don't think it stood out amongst these 3 songs. So what will it like will be when it's up against 18? But like I said, it's gradually growing on me, so I am cautiously optimistic about this one. I'm giving Russia 2 points. It only beats Lithuania by a narrow margin. I also think it's a dull song. It only gets the extra point because at the moment the chorus is memorable. I think if this makes the final, which it probably will because it's Russia, this one is going to be the song which I use to go to the toilet. So, you know, I don't see my opinion on this song changing. I will give it a few listens and see, but I don't have much optimism about this one compared to Lithuania. So that means my 3 points are going to Norway. Like I said, he's got a charisma that some of the others definitely don't have. The song is catchy, it's fun, it's memorable, and you can't look away. So Norway's going to join Ireland, Macedonia, Croatia, Belgium, Armenia, Switzerland, Spain, Romania, the Netherlands, Moldova, Italy, Denmark, and Czech Republic with 3 points. And Lithuania is joining Iceland, Georgia, Cyprus, Azerbaijan, Austria, Ukraine, Slovenia, San Marino, Montenegro, Malta, Hungary, Germany, and Albania with 1 point. So I've reviewed all the songs now, except for the UK's, because I'm going to be unbiased this time. I'm going to wait for the album to come out. I think it's due to come out in about a week, and I'll give all the songs a listen to form a longer lasting opinion on them. So I am going to do a second round of this, and what I'll do is I'll kind of look at all the groups of points together. So I'll look at all the 1 points, the 2 points, and then the 3 points. And for the 1 points, depending on how I've seen them, they could get more points of up to 3. The 2 points can get more points of up to 6. And the 3 points can get more points of up to 9. It will make more sense when it actually gets there. For me, songs will get more points depending on how they grow on me, or if any of the live performances shine. You know, we're in this period where, you know, you're having all these like building up parties. London's happened, Riga's happened, I think Israel's happened, and there'll be a few more to come. So we will see how it goes. I've been Flossy. Ta-ta!